Hello everyone, welcome so much to our little watercolor little owl here. I really think that you will have a lot of fun. Of course I said that during our painting, mainly most of our time will be spent on this area right here. But of course, you know, this area need to be nice too, but I choose to have more like a soft, instead of painting all the feather. We put a little bit more detail over here just because the area warrants it. But you're going to have fun as you follow along. This is really going to be a fun painting. Now, I tell you what I did extra after I say goodbye to you guys. Okay, I did dab in, so this is very easy. All I did is just dab in different, form of a shape of a leaf. Okay, because with the branches and the little aspen over here, I also, of course, put in the aspen branch just lightly, not really in much of anything of a detail. And this branch, I actually show you guys, we did that. And then I put a cluster of leaf here and then use my very fine brush and do this and put on the branches, okay? And even though I know that the stem that's going to the leaves will be more like a fall color, I still choose to do it in the sepia color. I think that kind of brings it out a little bit. And then I put a little bit of a background here. Now, since this beautiful bird, if I may say so, this cute little owl is not sitting on the air over here, so you don't cast a shadow over here, okay? This is just more like the atmosphere behind it, okay? So that's what we did. And I do introduction on the brush that I use. And you can find all the information about the coloration that I choose to do this on my blog post, which will go up together with this video. And it's my blog is sunsetpeonies.com. I will have the information or description down there, and in there you will know all the color. Okay, I think that's all I did after I say goodbye to you guys. And so this is the finished painting, and I will sign it. And I'm so grateful that you guys are here, all of my friends, and be sure to subscribe to me, and you can say hi to me, and if you have any question, I'll try my best to understand and try to answer you. And like I said, I am going to do a product that I use video soon. I just get so excited because fall is coming up, and so I have all these, like, we're gonna hopefully do a pumpkin, and I wanted to do a spooky moon, and so we will fit in there with the product used. And when I do the product, and I will put in a little explanation about water, what how we manage the water, okay, in watercolor. But as you watch my video, you will see them. I explained that sometime very, very clearly of how, like when I was doing here, how I dab the water in there so that it will come out with this kind of watercolor fantasy kind of, texture over here, right? And so I hope you keep your water brush wet, and keep coming to paint along with me, because I think about all these fun things that we can do together. And so I will stop talking and let's get started with the video, okay? Hello, all of my friends. We should get started. And so I just want to explain a little bit. So today we're gonna be mainly using these four brush, my old trusty Chinese, and the flow brush, the Chinese flow brush, and this number two Jackson, yeah, Jackson number 2. This is a synthetic brush at different spot. I just put a bunch of brush over here, and then I prick them up. And then this little beauty of I'm really liking this. And I will just kind of chat about brushes a little bit, okay? And so what I did right here is I used this very fine detail brush with a very, very sharp point, okay? And so what I do is, like, I use this Derwent. So I wanted to explain a little bit. This Derwent is intense paint pocket. Okay, so my daughter get it for me for my Christmas present, because I know I know that these kind of paints, I also have the watercolor pencil, and so they're supposed to stay put. They're supposed to, okay? You still have to work with them, but they don't, you know, run all over the place like the traditional watercolor. So what I did is I used the, sorry. So many things around me, mainly it's the light, you know. I need to use a lot of lighting, so, and so what happened is, you know, I dip it in the pitch black over here. I just dip it there with a little bit of a watery damp brush, and then I just put it there, and I give it, now it should probably have a half an hour to dry, okay, the black. And all the while I leave this highlight right here. It's very important, right, because when we do the highlight, then we make the eye look more roundish, okay, as a ball instead of a circle, okay, the same over here. And so you guys can paint along with me. I'm going to put this away, okay, because I don't need that anymore. And when we paint along, you will see if this start leaking. I don't think it will, because I've tried that before. And leaking means the color kind of feather out when we put a different color next to it. Now, today, most of our time is going to be spent on this area, okay? And so, we will get started so we can, because this is really the focal point, right? The eye area and the face area. And then I'm going to do very, very light rendering of the rest of this little owl's body, okay? And then we will go on, you know. And I also put some, also over here, I always like to use the micron, right? Because it also doesn't move on the feet area, the claw, because I don't want it to move when I'm, especially when I'm making a video with you guys, okay? Now, so in hoping that this is totally, we'll do this eye first, the one at the back, okay? That is not going to leak. So what we're gonna do is, or feather out, we're gonna dip, pick up some yellow ochre color, okay? And then we'll just put it right next to it. And it is quite true to what they tell us. I don't see any feathering out from the black, okay? And I don't really think that the yellow ochre is intense enough. Now at this point, I can soak up some of the watery liquid and then put a little bit more pigment, intense pigment onto it, and then I need to let it dry, okay? And that's all we're gonna do for now. And then we're moving on to this area, okay? This part of the eye. Yep, I don't see any feathering, so it is very good. And so if you guys, you know, have occasion, like when we paint birds together, we have occasion to not, now I'm closing in on here. Okay, I will try to zoom in a little bit so you can see. Okay, I'm closing in on here. You know, I close around the circle of the pupil. We're going to, at the very end, use, if I remember, use the gouache to reclaim some of our area, our white area back, okay? I find that that's the best. Now, so I don't know if you just saw me, I really bravely go into the dark area and nothing is feathering out. So I'm very, very happy with it, okay? Now, so this is kind of dry up a little bit because now we're in Utah, right? And Utah is, you know, watercolor dry quite fast here because it's so dry. Actually, we have a lot of rain lately, okay, raining, and so it's quite moist, okay. So what I did is I go and pick up some quinacridone burnt orange, okay, with a little bit of a damp brush, okay. I'll just show you, we just pick some color out, okay. My little block that I've shown you, I used that for a long time because with watercolor, it really does last very, very long, okay. And I'm putting it right next to, on top of that yellow ochre color, okay. Just part of it. You can see that just part of it, right? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and pull out that quinacridone burnt orange color, okay? With a brush that is almost dry, okay? I mean, I dry it on the towel really well, okay? And pull it out so that it's a gradation, okay? It's a soft line gradation. Okay, you're going to see me do that one more time over here. And what I'm doing is when I'm doing things like that, what it does for the watercolor, for the eye is I make it more almost like you can see into the yellow part, okay? You can see through the eyes, and that's very, very pretty, okay? I'm doing the same thing on the other side. I'm soften that line after I put some, okay, one more time, quinacridone burnt orange over here, okay? And if there is any of the, you need to go in, clean your brush, okay, in your water, dry it really well, and then pull that color out, okay? So you can see that, right? And after this is dry, I'm gonna put some, oh, let's just do it now. I think it's kind of dryish. I'm using some cadmium yellow medium, and I put some over here, okay? And that will suddenly brighten that yellow ochre out. I think in the other painting, I have told you guys that yellow ochre has black in it. You know, that's just the nature of it, okay? And so I'm gonna back out just a little bit so you know, the focus is better. Not the focus, the definition is better, okay? So while this is drying, we're gonna let that dry, and then we'll come and do some more. That's why I say most of our time is gonna be spent on this area right here, okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the, okay, I'm gonna keep referring, you know, here, do this part right here, okay? This part is almost like the eyeliner, without a better word to say it. Like she has a wingtip, right? We're gonna go in and do that. And, you know, just so that the eye is more defined, okay? Now, as you can see that with this painting, I use a lot of very, very dark color. I'm going to, you know, try to make it kind of soft, but I'm going to go into the lamp black. Okay, this is Daniel Smith Lamp Black, same brush, okay? So what we're gonna do is we are going to start over here, and now we're beginning to do the feathering, okay? But while we're feathering, we still want it to have a pretty good of an eyeliner, okay? So we're gonna outline the outside now, and then you will watch me and see what I'm going to do, okay? Now I'm going to just do part of it, okay? Before the lamp black totally go dry, right? The pigment totally go dry, I'm going to clean the brush the same way, and quite dryish of a blush, and I'm going to soften the outer edge, okay? I'm going to soften the outer edge of the line, the black line that I just put in. Doesn't look too soft, but it is softening, okay? You can see that it's turning a little bit of gray, and it's moving out from the liner, okay? Okay, now I'm going to go back into my lamp black again, okay? An area where I want it to be quite black, then I'll come back in and I'll do that again, okay? Do that some more. I mean, intensify it, you know. Okay, now I'm going to outline the whole eye, okay, of the owl, because the owl's eyes are very intense, okay? So it needs to be kind of you know, we need to outline that and make sure that it is intense, but then, you know, as it go out, then it needs to be a little bit soft too, okay? So we're gonna just keep working on it and working on it until we get to the effect that we want it, okay? Okay, and I'm because, you know, this also, when you do this kind of graduate, you know, deeper in the inside and then go lighter on the outside, what that will do is make the eye actually look is receding into the eyeball, if that makes sense. You know, my tablet over here keep wanting to get out on me, like turn off on me. I'm gonna have to fix that. I have to remember, because I'm so excited when I come in. Okay, do you see that I'm, you know, kind of feathering this out? Okay, so do her little wing, right? If we were doing our own eyeliner, that's what we'll be talking about. The wing part of the eyeliner, okay? So I always believe that artists are kind of like good at putting on makeup, and we are, because we already know how to make our eye, you know, where part of it, where we want to recede, you know, want it to recede, and where we wanted it to, you know, have highlight, we want it to have highlight, right? Okay, so I'm quite happy with it right now, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into some, let's do quinacridone burnt orange, you know, just a little bit of pigment, and I'm going to drop it over here, okay? Just to make the dark color not so dark, okay? And I'm going to drop some over here, okay? So it just become a very colorful colorful and colorful eye area, so that will become very, very pretty for us. Okay, now I wanted to make sure that it further recede over here. Okay, so I'm going to go in and use some Payne's gray. Okay, and then I'm going to kind of do okay, there's feathery, you know, it's feathering out. Okay, so we can just kind of do this, or we can feather it out as we, okay. Do you see that? I'm making that side then a little bit even recede, you know, because with a Payne's gray, a dark gray color, it'll make the painting more. Now you can see that make the area more recede, okay, into the eyeball, okay. And so what I really am doing is I don't want the, I'm also keep kind of softening what I just did, okay. So it became kind of like a soft gray color around there, okay? And so I felt like, okay, as for now, I work on that area enough, okay? So let's go over to the other eye, okay? And we're doing the same thing. How about using some Payne's gray? No, let's use the lamp black first, okay? Because we use lamp black on the other side, okay? Now, so what you can see, okay, I'm gonna make, okay. What I'm doing is going around the edge of the eyeball and making it a little bit of a V shape over there, okay? And I'm coming down here and strengthening that line over there, and then I'm going over here and do the same thing, okay? Now, so what that, now I'm going back in there with a clean brush, and I'm doing the same thing, pulling out the sharp edge. Okay, so I soften that, right? Can you see that soften? I hope you can see that soften, okay? And then it can go use some Payne's gray and go all the way out here, like she is. Let's call this a her. Okay, so what I you know, if you wanted to do that, you can go to Pinterest and look for this. I think the name of this owl is called whet, S-A-W-W-H-A-T. No, W-H-E-T, okay? And so if you go look up this owl, then you will see an owl that is kind of similar to this one, okay? Now, the reason why I will explain as I go, okay? But let's tell you what I'm doing now. I'm using some more Payne's gray, okay? And coming in here, and I am kind of outlining the outside of her eye over here, okay? Now, but why do I use Payne's gray instead of lamp black? Because this eye is supposed to be pushed back a little bit, right? And so I wanted it to be pushed back and not as defined as this one, so that it, perspective-wise, it will make more sense when you look at it, okay? So, okay, we're gonna just keep working on it, okay? And then put a little bit more Payne's gray closer to the eyeball, okay? So we're working with a lot of detail, right? So this is the time we really want to bring out your detail brush if you have it, okay? And then I'm going to push some shadow over here too, because my whole purpose is to push this, put some shadow over here, okay? My whole purpose is to push this this side of the eye back and let this be more forward, okay? And so I'm putting some more Payne's gray. It's just the way of putting some shadow and then soften it, okay? Soften the eye. Okay, so to us it'll be more pushback, but I will work more on that in a minute, okay? So you guys don't have to worry and just keep following me, okay? So I'm coming back over to this side, okay? And so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to work on this area, okay? This area right here, because this area is supposed to be white, okay? If you look at any picture of a saw-whet owl, then it will be quite white, but then white means the feather is not just a plain sheet of feather, right? So the gray that you see right there is making shadow, okay? So let's take some time and we will work on that, okay? Let's just work on here a little bit, okay? We will just, now, you can see that I have, with my pencil drawing, you can see that lightly, I have drawn the whole fluffy part of this eye feather. Let's call it eye feather, to lack of a better word to describe it, okay? Now, so what I did is I put some Payne's gray, and then straight away, I go clean the brush and come back here and soften it. I soften what I just did, okay? Now, this particular brush Ooh, I hope that my daughter had put that in the description in my blog in the product. Okay, I got that with Oriental Art Supply, and I really like it because it's very, very soft. Okay, as with every brush. Okay, some like the synthetic brush that I show you, this one, you know, the thistle is very is that what you say? The hair is very, very stiff. Okay, but with this one, it is very, very soft. And so when you come back to soften it, it won't soften so quickly for you. That means you can, you know, you can still see your original stroke, but then you can see the stroke, and then you can see the softened part, you know, the soft and gentle part, the shadowy part. So that's why I like it so much. Okay. And then when I think that it's not aggressive enough, the softening process, then I usually will change to that brush that I just showed you, the synthetic brush. Okay. Now, so we're gonna just kind of work on it, and then we'll come back and work on it, because, you know, as we go, we need to just see how, you know, how the level of the shadow, if it is really showing up enough, and then we'll come back and work on it some more if it is not. Okay. So don't be, you know, you don't have to go as fast as me, as I always say. Okay, because I'm, you know, kind of pressing for time, right? You can just go slowly and go at your own pace, you know. And actually, you know, when I was doing that one, that practice, I call it the practice painting. But this one, I was very, very careful, because, you know why? Because I have to give it to, well, you can call it an order, okay, people. And so I work really hard to be, okay, coming back and further, you know, putting some more gray around this area to push it back, okay, while I'm doing the shadow. Yeah, because that one, you know, my daughter wants it, and some of my neighbors wants it, so it's kind of like an, you know, I guess an order, but not a really online order. And so I was very, very careful. And when I start selling original, you can see, you will know that, you know, I can promise you, when I do things, I usually, you know, I'm very, very careful. I can't be as careful when I'm doing the video because of the time limit, okay, that I have, okay? So I just put paint spray on it, and then I come straight way back to soften it, okay? And then I'm going to just do a general, you know, shadowy, you know, it's like painting white flower, right? When you, when you're putting shadow, you usually need to be soft. Okay, and so now I'm going to just, you know what though, just for pretty sake, we should make in some brown in here too. Okay, just, and that will make it kind of pretty. You know, too much gray color. Okay, I'm just working, sneaking in, how about that, on some burnt umber. Okay, now suddenly it just come to life. Okay, and so now what I'm going to do is change to my flow brush now, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the shadowy area around this white area. I want the white feather of that fluffy area around the eye. Okay, I'm now changing into behind those. Okay, so you can, if you want to, you can change to a little bit bigger brush. Okay, because that will help you, you know, as we go, you see. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the burnt umber part. Okay, so the bird is going to be burnt umber and sepia, burnt umber, and then I will mix in a little bit of the sepia in my brush. Okay, and so what you know, I will tell you, of course, before this start, what we are gonna use with color wise. Okay, so it's darker than burnt umber. Okay, and it's not as orangey as burnt umber. Okay, so I'm going in this, you know, you're doing a lot of V area. Okay, if I'm lack of a better way to explain it, the V area, you know, so that you can see the feathering out of the, and this feather is actually quite important, so I'm like diving right in and showing you what I'm gonna do. Okay, now this is about as much as I wanted to do, and then what am I going to do? I am going to pull it out. Okay, I clean my brush, wipe it, kind of dryish, and then I'll come in and pull the color out. Okay, and this is a very, very good way for you to get better, have a little bit better control of the watercolor, instead of you know, you know, lack of a better word explanation, in order to so you won't get out of control. Okay, so you can see that, right? I have this dark area and I'm pulling it out. And pulling it out, and then so this area is so soft right now that we don't have to worry about it for now. Okay, we're just gonna let this area dry. So this is what I have come up with and decide that's the best way to do it, because it's very beginner friendly this way, and then you will feel like, you know, we work on a little bit of a segment at a time. Okay, and so it won't be so overwhelming. Hard for you guys to follow, right? Okay, so I'm gonna work on this little area at a time. Okay, and now after that I'm going to just pull it out. Pull out, you know, clean up the brush, make it quite dry, and then pull out the color. Okay, pull out the color and it disappear into the crown of the of her head. Okay, and then we'll come back and deal with that later. Okay. And so now of this area, I still don't think that that's dark enough. So what I can do is I can go into the lamp black, or I can go into the sepia. Okay, I'm gonna go try the sepia, and then I'm gonna drop color over here. Okay, at the very tip of the you know, those little triangle or whatever. What was the word that I just used? Okay, this very tip area, I'm gonna put some sepia, and that will further enhance the deepness and the darker value of that area. Okay, and so I'm quite happy. Okay, and so let's keep going, and we will keep working on it. You know, every time I think, oh, this painting we're gonna finish fast, and then I realize that I don't. And so I'm going to, you know, not take time for granted and just go a little bit faster. Okay, now as I always say, if you guys say, oh wow, Kathy, you're going very fast, then just stop your YouTube, right, and stop the video, and then you know, just allow yourself to catch up. Allow yourself to catch up, and then you can just you know, push play again, and then keep going with me, right? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the whole area the same way. Okay, I'm going to do the burnt umber mixed with a little bit of sepia, and then I'm going to go in and do this kind of V shape, not triangle. Okay, V shape. That's why. Now, when we're doing the V shape, when I give you a drawing, this kind of V, the feathery thing, will be irregular, right? And that's one thing that I like to, you know, kind of, you know, sometimes bring it to you guys' attention. Okay, don't make it so that it look like a star or a flower, a burst, because then you will miss the the beauty of the irregularity of it. Okay, and so you need to keep that in mind as you go. Okay, so what I'm saying is, like, you know, sometimes when we paint, after we paint a little bit, we now if you see some pigment going in, that means I have dipped into some pigment and wanted to, you know, give it a little more color. Okay, and because as we're painting, sometimes we kind of let our mind wander. Well, especially people like me, I don't know if you do that, because you know, I'm quite comfortable, you know, so I lost focus, and if I do, then pretty soon all of my V will look like, you know, almost like a chevron color, a chevron shape, and we don't want that. We want irregular, you know, because you know that in reality, the bird, that's the way she's gonna look, right? And so we're gonna do the best that we can. Okay, now you know, it's really funny, you know, so I'm coming back now, and I'm copying my own painting, right, that I did a couple days ago, and I say, oh, I changed color, and so why do I do that? But sometimes I don't really question myself, especially when I'm making a video on YouTube. I just do what I did, and because I do trust that there must be some reason for doing so, and I must really like it that way. And so I actually put some yellow in there, and so I'm gonna go dip in some yellow ochre, and while this is still wet, I'll put in a couple drop of the pigment in here. Okay, and I think that maybe what I was doing is trying to brighten the area up and break up the area so that it's not so regular. Okay, I think that that's probably what I was thinking. When I do this myself, like the practice that I was doing, I usually, I'm not talking to anyone. I might be listening to an audio book or the scripture, and so I, you know, sometimes make decision, and I would just say, why did I do that, you know, because when you're totally quiet, the focus is a lot better. And so that's why I don't deviate from my decision. Okay, now I'm going into the Payne's gray, okay, and I'm going to follow just my original whatever I was thinking, and I see that there's some Payne's gray there. Maybe I was doing the shadow over there, okay, and then I can also see that there's some indigo there, and so I'm going to drop a little bit of indigo. And so, you know, good thing that I actually know my color, and so I know what I was doing. Because sometimes I would have a painting that I need to repaint, maybe a customer order it, and that I've done it for, I just drop in some yellow ochre next to the indigo, okay? Don't be afraid of doing things like that, because it makes the painting come alive, okay? Now back to burnt orange, okay? Burnt umber, okay? Yeah, I sometimes do that, like a customer will order something that I've done, like, you know, I will call it 1,000 years ago, like maybe 10 or 20 years ago, and then I would trying to think back, Kathy, what were you thinking 10 years ago over here? Now, why did you use that color, and what color did you mix? You know, I do things like that, you know. That is my pain of being an artist, because I, you know, I am quite like that, you know, and then I would be figuring it out, and the process, actually, I enjoy it, so I don't have any problem. I just put some sepia over there to just darken it, okay, because this is the lighter part, but this is still dark, and this should be, you know, even darker, right? Because now, and a way to show that it's even darker is to use Payne's gray and blue, okay? You don't always have to use blue, I mean indigo. Okay, because those really suggest to the mind it is a shadowy area, okay? So you can see that I just dropped some of that, okay? And I soften this area. I'm going to leave that be and then work on, how about the nose, okay? Now, so what I'm going to do is starting from the beak, okay? From this area, and then I work towards the V shape, okay? And so you need to just watch me, and then watch me when I'm doing it once, and then you go and do that yourself, okay? Now what I'm going to do is mixing burnt umber with black now, okay? With the lamp black, because I want the beak to be really, really black. And so if the first shot is not black enough, which it is, I think that it is, okay? So you're working on the beak, and then you are all the while worrying about the V shape, because the feather that is around the eye cover the beak a little bit, okay? So we want the beak to be a little bit of a dark color, but then because we don't want it to look like just a triangle, so I'm gonna stop with all the pigment. Go clean my brush, okay? You can hear that I'm going dipping into the bowl of water and dry it, and then I'm gonna pull this color out, okay? Soften that color and pull that out. Now as I pull, I'm going to go into the brown. Okay, so it's a graduating of color. Do you see that? I'm going to go into the brown, okay? And then I'm going to finish up the beak, okay? This way. Ah, it's cute. The beak actually... Okay, and now I'm going into the Payne's gray, okay? And then finish it up like that, okay? Oh man, it's a cute bird. Okay, and clean up this area a little bit, okay? So the beak will be a little bit of a pointed area, okay? And then pull that Payne's gray color. Okay, did you see that? So I hope that you can, if it is kind of confusing for you, then what I suggest is you go back. Because for me, I can only do this once to show you, right? And so, if you don't see that, then just push stop and then go back and see that, okay? So I put dark color, and then as I pull it out, I put brown color, and even with some Payne's gray blue color, okay? And so that's how I make it work, okay? How's that? Okay, now, over here, I think I'm just gonna go Payne's gray, okay? Because I'm following my own drawing right here, okay? the V shape again, okay? The outwork of the V shape, okay? I'm gonna just kind of do that feathering stroke, okay? Now, I'm not doing a lot of color, like I didn't pull it out all the way over there because you're running into her other white area, her other white fluffy area on the other eye, right? And so the shadow that's casting from this white area is fine if you cast into the other area over there, okay? But this will actually help the other eye to push back though, so you know you don't have to worry too much, okay? Now the hardest part is probably over there. I would say, you know, I would say that's the hardest part, but so we're done. And so now back to relax, right? If we can, I'm just kidding. You know, sometimes there is not, you know, let's not say that we're not relaxed. Let's say that we're super focused, okay? And then we're going to work on this area, okay? Now remember, there is her other eye, okay? And her other feathery part, so do not lose it while you're doing this area. Okay, and just now if you say, oh, okay, I just want to work on this much, okay, which I'm going to do because I wanted you to feel like that, you know, you don't have to work on a big part, okay? Like you saw some video of people, you know, people teaching watercolor on YouTube or whatnot, you know, sometimes they just do a big area. You know, if you're a beginner, I just, you know, don't recommend that, you know. You know, just work on smaller areas so you can, you know, you don't have to make yourself all frustrated, okay? Now, and so what I'm going to do is now, yeah, now I'm going to, let's finish that other part first. Okay, let's soften this area. Okay, and then finish this. Come all the way and finish all the outline or whatever you call this of the feather, okay? Of the feathery part of this little thing, okay? Okay. Now we're gonna pull that area out, okay? Kind of cleanish brush, okay? And soften that, okay? So now this part is almost done. It's not done yet. We're gonna come in and do more shadow, okay? But it's almost. And so now I wanted to work on the crown, okay? Because it's just fun. And so what I'm gonna do is from here, I'm going to use a little bit and I'm going to graduate it, but I'm going to do one part at a time, okay? So don't worry, okay? I'm going back into the burnt umber, okay? And then I'm going to pull color from here. I'm going to do the crown of her head, right? And this is where I stop right here, okay? That's the edge, okay? Now I'm gonna just get the color because it's the same color, so don't worry, okay? It's gonna mix together. Okay, now as I go, now you can see that this color is getting a little bit of diluted, right? I'm going to go into the quinacridone burnt orange, okay? And then I go from here and just let the color mix. Okay, I've talked about this, I think, many times. Quinacridone burnt orange and burnt umber are just good friends, okay? And so if you wanted to... Now, why am I putting quinacridone burnt orange here? And while I'm doing that, I'm going to go in and dip a little bit of burnt umber, okay? So as I'm going on the head area, I'm just going to let the color mix, okay? Okay, now I'm pulling it as I go, okay? But now I am going into the crown area, and I don't want the crown to be, I want it to be light, okay? But I don't want a harsh line, so what I'm going to do, what am I doing now? I'm going back and clean my brush, okay? And dry it, and then I'm going to soften this line. And I think for those of you who have paid attention in the other way I paint round object, or mainly the head of the bird, is I'm leaving this area. And then I put a little bit of burnt orange, okay? I don't want this to be totally white, but I'm leaving that area very white and light, and this will help us to accomplish the form of the head of the... So it's a roundish, you know, ball, okay? So burnt umber right here, okay? The same thing. Like, see, I'm doing it a section at a time, okay? Burnt umber coming up, okay? And then as I'm coming up, now quinacridone burnt orange, okay? Now, why do I use quinacridone burnt orange for the bird? Now, if you went to Pinterest, as I kind of recommend you guys to do, to look at this owl, okay? The owl is really just sepia brown color, okay? Now, I use an artist's discretion to make it a little bit of quinacridone burnt orange because this is a fall owl, okay? Okay, just very, very soft. Okay, don't try to outline this, you know, just leave that very, very soft on the very top, okay? And see that, right? Okay, and it's coming up, and so I'm going to put a little bit more brown. Now, but, you know, just here and there, okay? Now you can, I want you to see how I do this, okay? I'm going to just, you know, let the color just kind of use the side of my brush, okay? This side of my brush and go in. And the pigment is not very, very strong, okay? Now, I was halfway telling you why I was putting quinacridone burnt orange, because it's an artist's discretion, okay, of trying to brighten up a bird, okay, for fall color, so it looks better on a painting. Does that make sense? So it's not like totally what nature is giving us, but we are, you know, giving it a little bit of bright color to brighten it, okay? I often do that. I do that with flowers too, okay? So that it's not boring one color, right? We're going to try to make the color look more vibrant. How's that? Now, you can see that I have a little wiggly thing over here, okay? This wiggly thing that we just went by and come through, you know, with that, okay? Now, that's also my design because I think in a child's room that would be more cute, don't you think? It would be more cute, so that's why I'm doing that, okay? I just want the hair to kind of flick out, okay? And so it also, you know, if you see photograph, you see one that kind of look like this, right? And I don't want to copycat a photograph, which I could, really. But I wanted to do, now I'm putting some sepia here because I'm going into the darker area, okay? Right? And so this is totally light, and I'm going to introduce some sepia as I go, okay, down here. Now I'm going to do this very, very soft now because I want the, you know, but I'm also doing it according to the feather, the way the feather is going, okay? And so I'm going to, you know, softly, and not put, you can see that with this owl, there's not going to be a lot of detail because owl has a lot of feathery, you know, it's a feathery bird, you know, and so, but for us, I wanted to, now I'm putting some yellow ochre, okay? Just dropping it in to lighten this area as it come out to the sun, okay? Just lighten it a little bit. So, if this become a little bit confusing, now my pencil line is too thick over there, so I'm gonna erase some of my pencil line, and then, you know, if you don't know why I make certain decision, then you just kind of follow me, you know, and then replay it, okay? And so now I want this part to be very, very soft, so I'm using a clean brush, you know, and just kind of soften it. And then I'll come back and decide, you know, how harsh a line I wanted that to be, okay? And all the while I'm I'm introducing some gray color, okay, over here for the shadow, okay? Because there's like casting shadow, right? And then I'll come back here on the second layer, and then you will know what I'm doing as I go, okay? I will make sure that I tell you more, okay? And so let's, now that we're onto the body, let's just go ahead and fill up the body, should we? Okay, I'm 40 minutes, okay? Okay, now, so I just go grab a drink of water. Just kind of getting thirsty, okay? Now burnt umber again, okay? I'm dipping my flow brush into the burnt umber and pick up some pigment, okay? So over here on his chubby little face area, okay? Now remember those V shape, okay? We still have some feather over here, so let's not lose the shape of the feather, okay? So I'm coming down over here, just a little bit of pigment, okay? And then I'm softening the edge of the pigment. because we're going to almost to the edge of the body, okay? So let's make sure that this area is kind of soft, okay? Okay, going down here, okay? And so even though you don't see any pigment going down here, right? But what I'm doing is I'm just putting a little bit of a very, very slight layer of water, okay? And then when I drop the burnt sienna, burnt umber, then you can see that, okay? Now I'm going to working on the bib, okay? What do I mean the bib? Okay, let me show you, okay? So now I'm doing this Payne's gray, you know, to put out to have the shadow area. This is the bib, right? So on top of the face, there's a bib area right here, right? Okay, and of course I will leave a painting that's done. This painting that's done, so you guys can follow. Okay, and so soft area for the bib. Okay, I'm not going to. And if you remember last Halloween time, I also had made an owl that is more intense. He was very strong and intense in color, and so the bib was very, very detailed. Okay, so now I'm not going to do that because I want this owl to be soft, you know, so that the focus will be over there. Okay, so that's the decision I have made. Okay, so now I'm just like wetting this area, really slight wet though, not really wet. Okay, we don't want really wet because and then I'm using a little bit of burnt umber pigment, okay, coming over here. Okay, so do you see that there's a bib showing right there? Okay, right that area. Okay, it's lighter, right? So that's the bib I'm going to try to portray. Okay, and then I'm gonna pull this down, and so the bib will be kind of irregular over here. You know how much I love sarcastically, how much I love things too monotonous, right? I don't really. For those of you that know me, I like irregularity, okay? And so that's a Payne's gray color, okay? Now because the bib area is kind of shadowy, right? And then you will see that I'm coming back. I will come back and to work on that area a little bit more, okay? So now I'm just like kind of splashing some burnt umber, okay? And as I go at interval, I will put some quinacridone burnt orange, as you can see right now, okay, to lighten that area a little bit, okay? So now this place is kind of wet, and see, so I think I'm going to work on it a little bit more, just pull the burnt umber color down a little bit more, okay? A little bit more, and then put some burnt orange right there, okay, to lighten that up a little bit. So I'm going back and forth between the burnt umber and the burnt and quinacridone burnt orange, okay? Now, so this area, okay, a little bit more burnt umber right there, because I'm following my own practice, okay? I'm putting a little bit more burnt umber right there, okay? And then dropping a little bit of burnt orange as we go, okay? Right like that. Okay, and I'm going to leave this part kind of soften it and just leave it without any pigment. The reason is, right, you guys know. And then I'm going to come over here. Now what I did is this brush had a little bit of wetness, okay? So I'm just rubbing it on the paper, on the wing area. Now why am I doing that? Because I feel like then when you're doing soft color, when you're doing soft soft things, that if there's a little bit of water on it, on the paper, then it just kind of disperse but not making a big mess, okay? So I'm gonna just put burnt umber the same way of I'm doing over here, okay? Just put some burnt umber color, and then as I going to the more like to the top of the wing, I put when I kind of drop some burnt orange, okay? So what this is doing is it's just mixing color on the paper, okay? Just mixing color on the paper. Okay, more burnt umber over here, okay? Now you'll be able to see the drawing that I will leave you, right? And then of course you see a painting that's over there, so you know what I'm doing. I'm just working the first layer, okay? Now I'm gonna, now it's the lower body part, okay? So I'm just gonna come around here a little bit, okay? Just really light burnt umber color, okay? Because you will know, or you can see that I'm going to put some stuff over there, okay? and just over here, okay? Because this should be a shadow area. Okay, now all this is a big oval egg, okay? A big egg over here, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this bottom line. The bottom line of the, now my brush is kind of damp brush, okay? I'm just pushing some, you know, a little bit of wetness into the paper. And then what I'm coming to do now is the Payne's gray, okay? In order for this to look like an egg, for you to see that it's an egg, then there need to be shadow towards the bottom of the body of my little owl, right? Okay, so but I don't want this to turn into a gray owl. I want it is a brownish sepia-ish kind of owl, so I'm gonna put color right next to it. Okay, now when you some pigment, and then I come soften it. When you do that, you be very careful and don't let the two color mix. And if you're uncomfortable, then what you can do is put the Payne's gray and let that dry, and then come in and put a layer of the brown. Okay, so now this will add as a shadow. Okay, and I tell myself, the shadow is not shadowy enough, so I come in and add more. Okay, now and I also like the shadow to be irregular, right? I don't want it to be too much of like a little stripe, so I'm coming in and putting that kind of color on it. Okay, so I'm saying that, okay, I'm quite happy. Okay, and so I will come and work this area a little bit. You know, what I will do is like put some more Payne's gray over here. Okay, and then bring out actually the claw. Okay, now so this is, you know, almost done. Okay, now let's go back into a different brush. If you feel like you need to take a break and take a breath, you know, then you go. Okay, now so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this detail brush again. Okay, I go into some Payne's gray, and so that the color, you know, I'm looking at my owl and I say, wow, there's a lot of brown over here. Let's introduce some gray, you know, to break up the brown color. Okay, and soften it. Okay, soften the color, pull it out. And then I say, hey, gray is not enough, you know. And so what I do that all the time is my shadow. I use indigo, because, you know, Payne's gray and indigo are very good color to mix together. Okay, and so I like to just, you know, sometimes I just do that. I just, okay, some more Payne's gray over here coming. You know, what I'm doing right now is I'm breaking up the burnt orange color. Okay, and then I'm going to pull this, which is indigo, right next to it. Okay, and so it's more pleasing to the eye. Okay, now over here where there is you know, the crown of the head, okay, I will put some quinacridone burnt orange on here. So you know, what I'm doing is, like, after the area which we're painting have a chance to dry, I'll come in and I'll assess it and say, do I want this brighter? Okay, and then what I'm just doing is yellow ochre, actually, right there. So I can have that a little bit brighter, okay, on the crown area. So how are you guys doing? I hope you are, you know, getting this technique, right? Because now, so at this point, I'm going to actually use the quinacridone burnt orange and just like put a little bit, okay, 1 or 2 feather retouch over here, okay? So I just feather it, and then I come in and I soften it, okay? Okay, so isn't she getting to be very cute? Okay, now let's work on this group of feather, okay? So is it dry? Nope, not quite. So I am going to work on this shadow, okay? I want this part to be lighter. In order for this part to be lighter, I'm going to put in a little bit more shadow over here, okay? So the same thing we do, we go into our Payne's gray, okay? And then we go from the eye over here and put little feathery touch over there. Okay, now sometimes with little detail brush, they don't want to pick up color, but you know, you will be able to get to know your brush, okay? And every brush has its challenge, if I may say so. Okay, now too much of the blue. now I'm going back to sepia, and then I'm going to put the shadowy area here with sepia. Isn't that fun? Okay, so being an artist is, you know, you're making decision to balance what you want it to, you know, what you want it to happen, okay? So I want a little bit more, couple stroke of sepia. And so when then there's a balance of color, it's just more pleasing to the people that are looking at it, okay? And I wanted a little bit of shadow over this area, but you know, you just want it so soft and so light because this still need to be white color, right? And I hope that I can accomplish that. Okay, I'm going to go on to the other eye area, okay? Now, I may seem like I'm going fast for you, okay? I'm putting some feather over here, and then I'm going to soften it, okay? So, do not go as fast as I do, okay? It's not necessary that you do that, okay? And then I'm going to put in some, let's just do sepia over this shadow over here, okay? Because I wanted a little bit of shadow so that you can see the shadow, so that you can see the white feather better, okay? Okay, now so I think I'm quite done, okay? Now okay, I'm going to do it now. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a shadow like the eyelid of the owl will cast a little bit of shadow onto the eye. Now since the eye is so orange and yellow, right? So we're gonna break that color up, and I'm going to go in with my paint spray with this little brush, and I'm going to slightly, so gently put the paint spray over here, okay? So I created a little bit of shadow, okay? And so it make the painting so believable, okay? Okay, if that's not enough, just add a little bit more, okay? Don't worry, you're not ruining your painting, okay? You're just making sure shadow is what make lives for an artist easier for artists, okay? Because the shadow will help us to make the form look better, okay? Now, and so a little bit of burnt orange, okay, in my brush, and still the little brush, and I'm going to put a little bit over here and a little bit more over there, okay? And then I'm going to go in with a clean brush and soften it. See that? You know, I know that you can probably see that on the painting, but on the video, but in real person, this look like you're seeing into the eye. It's almost look like a glass ball. It's just very, very nice when you do it this way, okay? Just drop. That's the beauty of the watercolor, right? It's very, very pretty. Okay, I'm going to zoom in for you to see. It looks like you're seeing through glass. Okay, look, that area, a glass ball of yellow and orange. Okay, it's very nice and pretty. So you just did that today yourself with me. Okay, now so let's work on this area. Okay, let's use a bigger brush. Oh, this one, my flow brush. Okay, now so what I'm going to do is I'm going to back to the burnt orange, okay? And I'm going to bring out this feather, right? In order for you to see that feather, I have to do the feather have some darker color, yes, and then I'm softening it, okay? But in order to let you see the color better, it look like it's that feather is actually floating, right, out of his body, right? And so a little bit of burnt orange, okay? A quinacridone burnt orange to brighten that area, okay? You just drop it in there, okay? Now, then I'm going to go under there and put a little bit of paint spray, okay? So see what I'm trying to show you is that feather had cast a shadow, okay? And I'm being very, very careful. I know that I probably shouldn't do that. You know, with you guys, I probably should have let it dry and then put that there. I just made a mistake there for you because I got too anxious. Not anxious, just wanted to make sure that it's pretty, you know, that the shadow is there, okay? So the same thing, okay? This second group of feather, okay? Okay, same thing, burn umber, okay? To make the feathers, I just painted that so it stands out. And then at the very end, I wanted to put burnt umber, okay? Just softly drop it in there so that it lightens the color. Now, this wiggly thing, I was in the halfway telling you what I was trying to do is that, you know, when I look at a photograph or any image that I, you know, somehow, now I'm using yellow ochre to do this little one, okay? And maybe I'll drop some burnt orange on it. Just to make a variety, okay? I do this wiggling feather because one is, I think it's very cute, and the second thing is like whenever I like to go, whenever I paint or I like to look at the photograph. Now this is, I'm talking about design, you know, if you know, one day you wanted to be an artist, you know, full-time or professional, whatever, I do that. I just don't follow people's photograph. Okay, I go in and put in my own design in there. Why do I do things like that? It's because then one thing is I will never be accused of copying. You know, people's thing. You know, I use photograph. I use a lot of photograph for reference, and not only do I use it for reference, I actually use it for you know, support and idea, right? And so. I guess that's what references. But, you know, it's very important to me that I don't copy other artists, okay? And so what I do is, so I'm going to let this dry, okay? That looks really good for me, okay? Right here, I say, maybe I want a little bit more color. Okay, so I'm coming back with the burnt umber. And then I want a little bit more color over here, okay? And then, so that's what I'm doing. I'm putting a little bit more color over there, so it's more colorful. And then I'm going to go in with the Payne's gray, and maybe I'll go in with some indigo, okay? Now, so where I want the bib, you know, to end, I'm gonna do that, okay? I'm gonna put some Payne's gray right here and there, and so what I'm suggesting to you is the shadow that the little bib of the pretty owl casting on to her own body, okay? So she's casting a little bit of shadow, and so now this bit become more apparent to you, right? Okay, and so that's where I'm going to stop, okay? But in order to make it a little bit more lively of a shadow, I'll drop some indigo on it. Okay, drop some indigo. Okay, now I'm going to have to do the shadow. Now that shadow, I'm just going to leave that. Maybe put a little bit more over this side, okay? And then I'm going to, you know, make sure that, because, you know, with most of my painting, you know, and most artists painting, you know, the dark bluish color, or sometimes they use violet color, you know, is to portray shadow, okay? And so that's what I just did. Do you see that come alive, right? It is sitting on a shadow. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit more over here, okay? Now over here we can actually put a bigger shadow because, you know, I assume that this feather is a little bit bigger. So I'm just gonna, you know, put a little bit bigger of a shadow over here, okay? And soften it, okay? And come in and soften that. Okay, so that part is done. And then I'm gonna put a little bit more shadow over here. Okay, because now I'm just working the form of the body. That means the egg, oval egg form, okay? And then to make it look pretty, I'm doing the same thing. I will drop a little bit of indigo, okay? So the shadow color is more lively, okay? All right. Now, I look like the original painting. I used the sepia to outline this little area, so I'm gonna do that, okay? I'm just gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna give this painting also to some of my neighbors who have children for their decoration, okay? So what I did is I go and get some giclée. We have a place where we can actually get giclée. I really love giclée. So if I make any mistake, I'll just giclée. You know, I just go into my thing and erase any dirty spot, you know, and I think that that's very nice. Like dirty meaning, you know, I put my arm on a color and I didn't know that, and I stamp it onto the painting. Sometimes I do that, okay? Now this is like doing very well, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my little brush again, okay? Now as I you know, I'm going to do a and put it into the putting into the sepia, okay? And so because this wiggly line, okay, that I told you that is my design, okay, I do that because, you know, you can see that, you know, now this is like more children friendly, right? The kids who get it is gonna say, wow, an owl supposed to look like that, it's so cute, right? But it is my artist's design, you know, because, you know, I'm going to also give it to two of my granddaughter, right, in their room, and I want them to, you know, see that, you know, grandma, like me, that's me, I'm their grandma. I design things like that, and I don't copycat people's stuff. And when you do that, when you use a little bit of your creativity and think about things, then you don't, you don't ever have to copy people's thing, okay? So what I did is I'm making this wiggly thing more pronounced, okay? So, oops, sorry, the other way. Show you. Okay, so I'm just going in there and use sepia and kind of, you know, make this look, you can see that a little bit better, okay? Isn't that cute? Do you guys like it so much? Okay, now so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to, like, I'm not going to do the background for you. I might, you know, I'm just going to do the lake, okay? So the lake part is very, very simple. But I will do a little bit of the background so I can show you. But I think I'm going to use burnt umber plus black, okay? And this is very, very simple, you know. I'm going to just put the part where it is darker, you know. First, I lay the pigment down first with the darker part, and then I'm going to come out and then just pull the color out, okay? Pull the color out. And in my drawing, of course, I will include the, you know, what you need to see, right, of the claw, of the feet, okay? Dropping a little bit of sepia on the darker area. Now this is still wet, okay? And then on the lighter area, which is not a lot of area for us to work with, okay? I'm gonna drop a drop of yellow ochre, okay? So that it will be, even the feet is more lightly. Okay, now I'm gonna talk about the other side. The other side means the other claw, okay, the other feet, okay. Now, what I did is, you know, in most of the, you know, pictures, you know, like on Pinterest or whatever, you see of this owl, nobody actually, it didn't have a feet coming up like that, right? Now, so this is another way I'm doing my design, okay, because I am a movement artist, okay? I like my art to have movement in there. And so what I'm trying actually to do with this owl is to show people that the owl, actually, I'm dropping some burnt umber in this area, okay? To lighten it up a little bit. And then I will drop the yellow ochre on. And so what I'm trying to portray here is that this little owl is actually trying to get off the branch. Okay, and you know, I'm sure that any photographer will have a hard time getting a shot like this. You know what I mean? And so this is my design. And when you try to design things like that, then you don't have to copycat people. You can be an artist, which is you create, right? You create thing, and then it become very creative and fun. So I'm adding movement to the whole painting. That's what I am trying to tell you, okay? And so right now this is done, okay? This whole I might add a little bit shadow over here, this just because I wanted to follow my original painting, because I'm thinking correctly when I'm doing that. So I'm going to put a little bit of Payne's gray over there, okay, and pull that color out, okay, so further enhance some more shadowy area, okay. And then drop some indigo to brighten the shadow up, okay? Oh, this is so fun. I hope you guys will follow really and make yourself one. Give it to your children or your grandchildren, because it's just fun, you know, for them. Because my little first grandson, I was painting, and I'm dropping now yellow ochre here and there to lighten up the owl, okay, for you and for me, okay, just that so that it has a little bit more yellow. Yellow is my happy color, right? And so happy. Okay, now so I will quickly go through the branch here with you, okay? So now I'm going to go in this brush, and I'm going to take a lot of sepia, okay? And then you won't have because this one I have more detail, right? Like I tell you, if I'm doing an original to sell or to gift, then I will put more, like I will be a little more, because this will go to 2 hours if I do that, okay? And so I'm going to just drop color in there for you, and you see, you know, afterwards you see that over here, or and also in the intro, okay? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in this area and do the branch, okay? So the branch is really easy. I'm doing a lot of pigment of sepia, okay? And then I'm doing the shadowy, the bottom part of the branch, okay? Okay, so this is the bottom part of the branch, okay? And it's going to be more intense of a sepia color. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to, right now, and say, okay, that's intense enough. Actually, it's not. And I'll drop some more sepia over here, and then I'll clean my brush, and then I pull this color out, okay? Dry my brush really well and pull the color out, and then suddenly it's a branch. Okay, I discovered how to do that when I was doing Oriental watercolor. And so now if I say, hey, you know, there's not enough detail, but it should be like this. You shouldn't have too much detail. But if you want to, at the end, you can actually put some lines on it, you know, and that will be okay. Okay? So this is the branch, right? The branch the owl is sitting on. Okay, I'm going to do this little space in between their little feet, okay? Same concept. You know, put some shadowy area and then pull it out, and that become a branch, okay? All right, and then before I do that, before I finish up and say goodbye to you guys, I'm going to use a micron, okay? And darken the most pointy part of the claws, okay? So that it will be as dark as I wanted it to be, and it will be very sharp, okay? That's why I'm using the micron, because I want it to be very, very sharp, because claws are very sharp, right? And so I don't want to use the brush, and in case I make a mistake, and also I'm running out of time, so I'm trying to, this is a fast way of making sure that the claws are fast and sharp, okay? And that is a foreshortening one, so you can just see it that way, okay? Let's sharpen this one a little bit. Okay! Alright, and little owl is done. I'll finish the rest of the branch, okay? And then I'll drop some yellow color, and this is an aspen that she's sitting on, okay? So it's an aspen, so I'm just gonna drop color on this one, not so much detail, okay? And so that you don't have to worry about, you know, I'm doing some trick after you're gone. And so, and one more thing maybe I'll show you, okay? I'm going to use my gouache, and then use my very, very fine brush, the same brush that I've been using almost the whole painting. Pick up a lot of gouache, okay? I just pick it up from the tube, and then I'm going to put the highlight, further the highlight over here, okay? Okay, and then the highlight over here, I'm gonna make it a little bit wider, okay? Do you see that? All I did is I just dab it over there, okay? And I dab it over here. Okay, because I wanted it to be really white and bright. Not this area, but that, the edge, okay? And that's it. That's what I'm going to do for you and for today. And then I will, you've seen how I do the branch, okay? So I'm going to do just a little bit more over here, and then it'll be a little bit of the aspen over here, and then I will make it nice, and then you can see that at the very, very end. I think I have everything. I show you everything that I wanted to. Thank you, and for hanging out with me, and please subscribe, and I will see you in my next painting, okay?